Welcome one, welcome all to my podcast focusing on your favourite sports and your favourite athletes on their Olympic journey. This is the road to Tokyo. This is 2020 Vision. Hello and welcome to episode 8 of 2020 Vision. Trust me when I say that this episode will be big. Not only the personalities, but the things that we talk about. Now, when I did athletics as a child, throws were not my friend. In fact, my attempt at throwing a javelin resulted in me hitting myself in the back of the head several times before throwing. So, I'm lucky to have throwers on this episode that know what they are doing. Let's start with Matt Denny. Matt is a guy that knows how to chase his dreams. So here it is, my chat with Matt Denny. Tell us about how you started in athletics. What wanted you to become either a discus thrower or just get involved in general?
So when I grew up out in the country out in Harradine, so like less than 1,000 people, just between Toowoomba and Warwick, about 2 hours west of Brisbane. And I grew up in like a big family, one of 8 kids, and we were very like active family, loved sport, always played a lot of footy and swimming and all different things. So I grew up doing that first, like just doing all types of sports. And when I was in primary school and stuff, they gave me like little bean bags and vortexes and stuff for us to throw, and I used to throw that over the top of the teacher's head, which I thought was funny, and like I was enjoying it, and I sort of progressed from there. I'm still doing heaps of sports, but in grade 6 and 7 I got dead last in the state, and then in grade 8 decided I was like, well, I don't really enjoy getting last in the state, so let's get a coach. And then and my coach Ben, who was my coach all the way up until Tom Gaines, Graham Kidd, coached me, and we went from last in the state the year before, and then within perform, I think it was 2 months, I went from last in the state to second in the country. And I got really, and just from there, like it just took off, and I was still playing footy and stuff, and then I did make the choice to focus on just athletics solely until grade 10. So, it was the thing that interested me about throwing was just like the technical mastery of it, and like the forever like willing seek to improve and try and perfect the technique, because it's such an intricate and like unbelievably diverse way to move your body and try and master and stuff. It just intrigues me, and always forever searching to try and improve and get better, and that's sort of just what hooked me on the sport. So
It's much like mastering how to kick a football. You just keep trying again. I like that, mate. So what was it like playing football and trying to balance the athletics then?
Yeah, like it was. I didn't find it too hard. Like I enjoyed my footy, and I was like it took me until probably like grade 7 to like really figure out how to play hard. Like as soon as I figured out that, like just being able to, when you see a lot of footy players like run up to the line and they slow down and they sort of brace for the impact. It took me a while to get over that and be able to just run through the line and continue to pace it all through it. And because of my size, that just went really well for me. Like I was breaking the line all the time and always scoring, and I was really enjoying footy, and I sort of had a good balance. Like I was able to do both, and I was still doing swimming occasionally and all that sort of stuff. But because I was so young, like kids can handle a lot of like sporting load without any problems when they're younger, because they've got that knack of option. But when you start to get older and all that sort of stuff, there's more pressure on the body. You're putting more force into because you're fully developed and all that sort of thing. So compared to doing it, like if I did it now compared to when I was a kid, it'd be totally different. So.
Okay, so going through you got up to year 7 now. When did you decide? Like, can you remember the point when you decided that it was okay to change over, and what was your first competition win like for you?
So grade 6 and 7, so I've got last and state, and then first coach in grade 8. So I was still playing footy, and then I didn't win my first national title until 2000. So that would have been, so grade 8 was 2009. So I didn't win my first national title until 2010, I think, or 2011, and I'm pretty sure that was in Canada, not in District. Anyway, and then like I started to progress, and then we started dominating more and more and more. But I made the decision to stop footy in. Oh, that's right. Yeah, so I broke my collarbone in grade 9, and I was playing really good footy. I was playing rep footy and all that, and I was. A lot of people were saying that, I'll get picked easy for Queensland, but the possible probable game before the state tryouts and stuff, I broke my collarbone. So I had to miss out on all that, and then I went to Toowoomba Grammar in grade 10, which was 2011, and I played and they were rugby union school, so I played 2 games of rugby union, and I didn't want to play rugby, and I kind of wanted to play league, but I just really wanted to focus on my athletics. I just really, really loved it. I found a really good passion for it, and there was 2 things I didn't like about footy. Was the highly rated injury and like concussions and all that sort of stuff, and also the fact that I didn't like relying on other people to create success within my sporting desires and all that sort of stuff. I didn't like being out training my bum off 24/7 all the time, trying to get better and better and better. But then there'd just be one person that would let down the team because I didn't train or didn't make plays, or that they just didn't have that dedication. So that really killed me in the sport. And then I just found this in love for athletics, and I said, stuff it, I'm focusing on athletics. And then 2 years later, after that decision, I ended up winning the World Youth Championships when I was 17. So I won men's discus and then third in men's paddle, which was the first ever to do that. So I think I made a pretty good choice from the get-go. So.
I love it, mate. So obviously in the sport there are lots of letdowns, and it brings yourself down in a sense. Is there anything that you do to kind of boost that mental attitude towards the sport, because it can get you down in a sense if you don't succeed in a competition or you haven't trained quite well, or even with an injury if it comes about?
Yeah, I think I think all sports are like that. Like it's like, I remember one of the funniest things I ever heard was athletes are completely insane for the fact that they're athletes, because of the fact that 1, money is very indecisive. 2, the injury rate is so high. 3, if you get injured, you never know whether you can come back from it. 4, because your career could end within a split second without you having control of that. And just the fact that you never know whether you're going to be the best or not. Like, you might think in your brain that it's forever destined for you to be the best in the world, but you never know. Like, and I think that if you have, I grew up in the country, so I've always been taught that really strong mental grit on being able to push through barriers. And, not to say that I definitely have my downtimes. Like, I definitely have moments where, the sport's a big struggle, and you might not be competing well or training well, or not making enough money is what you think, and all that sort of stuff. And it is brutal because you're trying to live, you're trying to get to where you want to be. So I think that one of the biggest things that we did, just with the mental capacity and trying to be able to handle I guarantee every athlete, Muhammad Ali, Conor McGregor, all these guys that say they're the best and all that stuff, it is human nature for people to doubt themselves no matter who you are. Because it's the fight or flight response. Like, the reason that we go into a competition and our brain goes, I don't like this, we might not do well, it's your brain thinking of excuses to be able to get you out of a certain situation. So, you know, if you get into a fight, adrenaline pump, and then you're trying to figure out how to do everything. So, or the other response is get the hell out of there so you're not putting yourself in danger. It's the same thing for a competition. Your brain doesn't really know the difference. It knows that it's in an environment where you don't like, you feel uncomfortable. When your body feels uncomfortable in a situation, then it thinks, oh, I'm in danger here, and then it wants to figure out any way to get you out of that situation. And also the fact of the uncertainty, like being able to not know what is to come, what would happen, what can happen, where will I end up, will I make it to wherever I want. When you have those sort of aspirations, doubt comes with it, because there's things that people have done before, there's things that you have no idea what you can do or not, and, you know, things don't go 100% to plan. So when things don't go to plan, your brain goes, oh, well, this must be mean that I'm not going to be able to do it. But the great athletes are the ones that can deal with the negativity well and focus on what, like I said, what you can control, what is actually in your control, and how you can focus more on that instead of the negative. So instead of thinking positive all the time, it's understanding that negative and positive, if you can balance the both and understand why which one is there, then that's where the better athletes come out.
That's awesome, mate. Very well said. Well, speaking of greats, where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? What are your goals that you've set for yourself?
If we talk about, I have different setting goals. So I have my 1% and stuff. So if everything goes to perfect plan, and I think, and I get to the potential that I think I can, then if we're talking in that realm, definitely, I think that medaling this year at World Championships is definitely possible.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously 1% of the stuff, like top 8 is the first goal, and then top 5 is the next goal, and then progressing up from there. Like, we've been trying well, and we're building consistency and stuff, and finding new things. Like, we've just found some new stuff technically in the last couple of weeks that have made a big difference for me. And you know, from there, so top 8, top 5 medal, Tokyo medal is our big goal, and then from there onwards is try and get as close as possible to dominating the sport as well as we can. Like, there's some big names coming up with, like, well, not coming up, that are currently there, with Daniel Stahl and Cedric Dackers and Andreas Goodis and stuff. You know, these big boys trying out over 70, and there's a lot of talk about Daniel Stahl potentially might break the world record this year, who knows, but he's throwing well enough to be able to potentially do that with good conditions. So yeah, like my all-time goal for my career is to have at least won every major championship possible. So World Championships, World University Championships, Com Games, and Olympics.
I like the idea of that, mate. Well, hopefully you can get yourself there. Thank you very much. I thank you very much for joining me.
I'm still very young in the sport. Like, I'm only 23, so
yeah,
peak age for throwers are late 20s, early 30s. So
well, I'm only 20. I'm 24, so you're making me feel slack.
Yeah, just takes time.
It does.
It always takes time.
You look after yourself, mate. I'll let you go with the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of the year. Hopefully it brings some medals to you. And we'll chat to you next time when you do have those medals.
Cheers, thanks for having me on, mate.
Yes, no problem. See you, mate. Bye.
See you, mate. Bye.
Thank you very much, Matt, for coming on. I wish you the best of luck for this year and the future. He definitely was a man with many wise words. And speaking of wise words, my next guest was not ashamed to tell us about his ups and downs and how to overcome issues in life. This was an amazing chat that I believe all should hear. Here he is, Ben Harradine. How did you get started in the sport of discus?
Well, I was a decathlete originally. I went through the little A's thing. I was 6 years old and was just enjoying being running, jumping and throwing pretty much. And I enjoyed also the challenge of technical events. And after I got to about 14 or 15, I sort of had an inkling towards one direction I wanted to go. And for me, I liked the individual responsibility that track and field offered, and also like to learn new technical things. For me, it was like constantly finding new ways or trimming back ideas to throw the discus further, and just fell in love with throwing, pretty much. Simple as that.
So, who is there any particular person that directed you in that sort of area, or you just felt that you loved it?
No, not particularly. I just started with like a general athlete. Like I liked all events. My favourite event was like the 400 and the high jump. I wasn't particularly interested in throws that much at the beginning, but my parents were both very involved in the track and field club, but they really left it up to me, trying to provide opportunities with me based on what I enjoyed and what I was interested in. And I found a coach down in Wanji, which is on the other side of the lake in Newcastle, where I'm from. He's an old engineer, and my mum and dad started driving me down there 2 times a week just to learn the throws a little more, and I just loved what it had to offer. So pretty much it was my will, enabled by my parents. So not really anyone steering me in one or other direction, really.
Well, that's okay. Well, you've obviously pushed yourself in the later years, though, and you've done miraculous things with the discus. Do you mind telling us what it was like, the journey to get the green and gold, what you had to go through and what you achieved in the end?
Jeez, it's hard to sum up my whole career in a short space, but I think for me the most important thing was the journey. It was never what results that I was going to achieve, because I had so much to learn, and I particularly enjoyed what it offered sport. Money certainly isn't a draw card, so we had to find other means to use it as an education for life. And also for me it was very much a labour of love, because I was able to spend a lot of time with my dad and a lot of time with family and friends, and they were pretty much the driving force behind my career from start to finish. I made a lot of decisions that were difficult at the time, but now that I reflect back on my career, they were so pivotal in I want to say my success, but more or less my learnings and the things that I was able to take with me post-career, like living in Germany and learning a new language, living in Europe, just being in an uncomfortable position for a while, and dragging myself out of the lowest of lows and having that great support network. But I think that when I look back on what I have done and I have achieved, the sport has pretty much given me everything that I have to this point. As I said, I'm incredibly close with my family. I met my fiancée on a training camp. She's a swimmer. Was able to experience her winning World Championship gold, and also be a part of her training, helping her with her strength and conditioning and so forth. I just think that irrespective of how far through the discus, for me, it was a commitment to an education, and a commitment to being or trying to be the best version of myself that I could. And I'm pretty pleased with even if I didn't, make it to the Olympics, which I always knew I was going to do because I had the drive to do that. But I still would have been able to reflect back and say this was worth it, and I definitely can do that today.
That's amazing, mate. Well, congratulations on the steps that you took. Now, you mentioned the lows there. As a young male myself, I have issues with mental health, and there are a lot of other males around that do have that. Also, is there anything in regards to advice that you could offer on? You don't have to mention how you put yourself through it, how you got to the other end, but what could you say to those that are struggling?
It's difficult to sort of imagine how. Also, so many people go through so many different things, and for me, it was a bit of a tug of war that I had, not with myself, but with expectation, I think, because as a sports person, we have expectations on ourselves. We're hard enough on ourselves, and then when failure is lifted up as something that is negative, especially by people who run our sport, it should be turned upside down. It should be encouraged to fail because that's how we learn. And I think that creates a climate for people, irrespective of male or female, or whatever you identify with, that it's not okay to do things wrong. It's not okay to go out there and try and fail. And that for me was a big part of the reason why I had some lows. And I remember one particular experience that I had in 2009 where I poured my heart and soul into everything that I did, and I was my biggest critic. And then to walk away from the arena after Worlds and have the head of our federation tell me that I was the biggest failure in our team, that's hard to handle for the best of people. And that's not me just, having a few feelings. That's hard for any person to hear or any athlete to hear. And I don't even know why I accepted it at the time. But it was a contributing factor to a very low point of my career where I started to wonder, well, is this actually worth doing? That's just one particular example that I had. And I was so scared at the time to say that those things had been said to me because of fear of being, cut out of teams and upsetting the apple cart, so to speak. But it doesn't help. We need to feel a situation where we can talk about these things openly, because otherwise there's no dialogue. We can't change. We can't improve. And I think that a big part of mental health is to recognise that some people are struggling a little bit, and that we need to give them the opportunity to feel comfortable enough to talk to a network or a team of people who can help with those things. It's so important for everyone in life to be able to feel comfortable talking about mental health, and the more and more people do it, it liberates others. And I feel that climate is slowly starting to change a little bit in Australia, but it's not easy. It's not easy anywhere in the world, but especially when, to give you an example, like when you're going into a major championship, you're told, or you're understanding that you have to be in a positive state of mind in order to do well. But also there can be other ways that you can handle those things. For example, like accepting that negative thoughts do exist occasionally, and we can't try and ignore them. We have to accept that they come and go, but not engaging with them as much as possibly I did. But you try and stay positive to give yourself the best opportunity, whereas sometimes you're not really dealing with the underlying cause of why you are feeling that way. And the more and more we can sort of understand how to manage that, we become more resilient athletes and more resilient human beings. So, as you say, mental health is so important, and the more and more athletes are speaking up about it, and the more people are speaking up about it, the better we can do at being better humans.
Well, you've come at you've come to the other side of the rainbow. You've I can't speak personally for you now, but it sounds like you're achieving a lot right now. Do you mind telling us what you are currently doing?
I am a high performance director of the largest track and field club here in Sweden. So we have 1,600 athletes, 157 coaches. We also run a midnight 10K in 5 different cities throughout the Nordics, and that generates revenue for our club, so we can support athletes and support coaches and run a good organisation. So that's my responsibility. And for me, it's also quite a different perspective, because as an athlete, I was responsible for me, and I had my team of people who were helping me do those things. And now I'm not entirely responsible for the whole organisation, but I feel as if it's my duty to help the organisation forwards and develop in a direction where we can produce better results and have better athletes and better citizens and so forth.
Well,
so that's my job.
Yeah, I love it, mate. Well done, and it's cool to see where you've headed. Is there anything that you do in your downtime? You know, we're talking about mental health. That's always a good thing, to focus on what we do in our downtime and not focus too much on on everything else around us. Is there anything that you do?
Yes, there are things. I'm a big believer in meditation. I don't mind the occasional time out to myself, take my shoes off, get out into nature, and just reflect on here and now. I love being outdoors. Also love music. Music for me is a great release. I like to write, and I produce a little bit of music together with a buddy over here in Stockholm.
So we're going to see you on top of the charts then?
Definitely not. I do it for me, not for anyone else.
That's okay.
Having said that, I can send you the EP that we released.
Hey, a little thing. I also work on radio as well, so I've got my own radio show.
Oh, cool.
I might give it a play if it's any good.
Awesome. Absolutely, and I'll send it through to you.
Sounds good, mate.
I just wanted to touch on, I think that, if I'm being honest with you completely, I think that nowadays it's difficult for me to switch off from my work, and it's a challenge that I'm going through at the moment. I'm trying to manage the life balance a little bit more. You know, being an athlete, you're a little bit more routined with training, and for me, exercise is so key to just having the good hormones running through my mind and through my body. And I notice when I don't exercise as much as I should, I start to spiral downwards a little bit, so I try and keep that up as much as possible, train to feel good, and then combine that with just being outdoors and travelling and loving nature.
I love it, mate. Well, you're definitely a guy that I can look up to, and I thank you for the chat today, and for, you didn't have to talk to us about what was going on for you, but I appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone else that listens, especially those young males. I'm all about it, the mental health life and trying to get yourself in a positive mindset. I have dabbled myself in meditation, and it is definitely something we should look into. Even some colouring books are good as well. But
absolutely.
No, I thank you again, and I wish you the best of luck with everything going on. And it sounds beautiful outside because I can hear the birds.
Seagulls.
Oh, seagulls. Oh, there we go. Well, not as beautiful. They're not the best creatures.
No worries, mate. Anytime.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll catch you later. How good was that? Such an interesting guy that definitely has turned negatives into positives. A real role model for any young person, any old person, any person that is struggling in general. I thank both Ben and Matt again for coming on this episode. I hope you enjoyed episode 8 of 2020 Vision. I'll see you next week. Who knows who we're going to get. Thank you for listening to another episode of 2020 Vision. If you want to find us elsewhere, go to Podbean, YouTube, or Spotify and type in 2020 Vision. You can also find us on Facebook. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.